Hi everyone, I hope you can hear me. My name is Sarah Cogley and I'm from the University of Buffalo in Western New York. I work as a digital archivist in special collections, and the projects I'm going to talk about today fall under the University Archives, which is one of 4 departments in special collections. The Archives houses the historically valuable records of the State University of New York at Buffalo. The Archives collects, organizes, and maintains the records of UB academic departments and administrative offices. And we also collect the private papers of administrators, faculty members, and other individuals associated with the university, and has in the past collected records that document broader international, national, and regional events that impact the university and Western New York. So for example, the Archives houses collections that document the Love Canal disaster, which was a regional environmental crisis, which led to the passing of the Superfund Act by the US government. So there is precedence for the Archives to collect documentation in times of crisis, although I would argue that we haven't quite seen anything at the scale of COVID-19 before. But our approach to building collections around COVID-19 has been to think about gathering documentation from multiple viewpoints. I think of these as public-facing, internal, and community-based perspectives. I feel that collecting these 3 areas will help us build a broad record of what this time was like for the university and helps the Archives continue to support the research mission of the university by allowing future scholars to study the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. So our first project was to build a web archive of the university's COVID-19 web pages. We are currently capturing 8 or 9 web pages using the Heritrix web crawler directly in Preservica. And we also use Web Recorder for some sites that the Heritrix crawler doesn't quite do a great job with. But the web pages were selected because they relate to the operation of the university during COVID-19. The sites document the communication efforts of the university to students, parents, and faculty and staff. The web pages are also a record of policies created and implemented in response to COVID-19 by the university. As part of this project, we developed a collection policy, and it outlines the focus of our collection, selection criteria, the frequency with which we crawl the pages. Some we crawl on a daily basis because they are updated very frequently, and others we crawl maybe just once a week. So our second project is a collection of internal communication of the decanal units on campus. So the files in this collection include things like email messages sent from the Office of Student Life to residential students about how to retrieve their campus belongings, and also staff newsletters from the facilities department about PPE and other safety issues. These files are gathered by an administrative office on campus and stored in UBbox, which is an online file sharing system similar to Dropbox. So the office gave the Archives permission to download the files, and once we've processed these files, they will be ingested into Preservica. So at the end of April, the Archives launched a project to build a community archive about COVID-19 that encourages students, faculty, and staff to document their personal experiences and to contribute them to the Archives. Members of the UB community can submit materials such as text documents, video and audio files, photographs, blogs, and social media content. We recently received our first TikTok video. And this project was initially open to submissions from students. We targeted students first because we wanted to focus on a group that we feel is generally underrepresented in the Archives. But we did open it up to faculty and staff submissions earlier this month. We built a homepage for this project on the Archives website, and we tried to be very clear about the goals for the project, how to participate, including providing the community with question prompts to get them to think about reflecting on their experiences. We also describe what happens to the material after it is donated, and we share basic information about the mission of the Archives and COVID-19. So community members that are interested in donating materials complete an online form, and this allows us to gather some basic information from them, in contact information, also their affiliation with the university, and the types of files that they want to submit. So archive staff are able to triage the submissions and provide contributors with a link to a shared folder also in the Box system, and they simply upload the files. Archive staff have access to those files, and then we can download them and move them into Preservica from there. So the success of this last project that's really about the community will only succeed if we get responses from the community. So we've tried to spread the word about the project through a variety of different channels. We've published a couple articles in our daily faculty and staff newsletter with help from our communications office. We've also promoted it on social media, and we contacted the governing bodies of the faculty and staff, and they've shared information about the project with their members. So our hope is that by participating in these projects, people feel that they are part of a community and that their stories really do matter. So all of the content that I've described from these 3 projects will be preserved in Preservica, and all publicly accessible content, so the web pages, user-submitted content, will be made accessible to the community through universal access. And we plan also to create finding aids for these collections, and our catalog, which is ArchivesSpace, links directly to these records in universal access. So thank you for taking the time to learn about our project.